Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. So, yeah, a lot of stuff was today. Not today, sorry, yesterday. So, I finished this tutorial with a Godot, which is like default Godot tutorial from from the documentation, like official Godot documentation. And right now I will. Actually, yesterday I started working on this tutorial from how this guy called from Hard Beast. It's a really nice tutorial about Godot and how to make a Godot action RPG series. So yeah, I, I I started working on it, and it's pretty nice and pretty good. So yeah, I think I working right now on the episode 6. It's about animation in all direction with an animation tree. So yeah, that's how we will continue today. I think we need to turn off the music. Okay, let's watch. So I just started working on this part, like adding this idle right and run right transition stuff, and yeah, I need to activate it. So yeah.
And then it automatically advances to this one. But you can change the switch mode. So let's say we want it to switch at end. Now if we play our run right, once the animation ends, it will automatically switch to our idle right. And I'm showing you this not because we're going to be using this necessarily, but just so you can get an idea of what all these things mean inside of this graph.
Okay, so this is like just about the at end switch mode. Should I save it or okay? It's no, no, it doesn't work. The hell?
Graph here. Just so you can, and once the animation ends, it will
Ah, okay,
automatically
after
switch
the
to our
ends
idle
on.
right.
Yeah, I
And
see.
I'm showing you this not because we're going to be using this necessarily, but just so you can get an idea of what all these things mean inside of this graph here, right? What these little arrows mean and kind of how they work, just the basics. So we're actually going to delete these. Select this one, click delete, select this
What?
one, click
I was
delete.
working on it.
And the reason is because we need a system that is going to manage multiple directions for our animations. And the solution to that is called a blend space 2D. And when we add this, we can just call this idle. So instead of having an idle right, an idle up, an idle left, an idle down, we can have this blend space 2D and we can just call it idle, and it will contain all of the different animations for our idle state, right? And you can see now it's got a new icon. We've got a little edit icon right here. We can click on that, and that opens up this new window. And we can actually switch, it opens up a new tab over here. So we can switch back to the root and come back into our idle, root, back into idle. You can switch between those. So inside of here, this blend space is where we can set up our different our actual animations. Remember how we added animations in the root? Well, now we're adding animations inside of here. That's why it's called a tree. We have the root, we have the idle, and then we'd have animations inside of here. It's a tree structure, right? And so in here, it says no triangles exist, so no blending can take place. And so it wants us to set up some triangles, right? What does that mean? Well, it wants us to come into this one here, create points. You can see, oops, we don't want that point there. Let's switch back to select and delete that point. I just switched to select, clicked on it, deleted it. This right here is set the blending position. So we'll set this back to about the center and come back to create points. We'll create a point here at the very leftmost position. And for this, we'll say we want an animation and we'll do idle left. Okay. And we'll come up here to the top point, and I'm going to throw you for a loop here. We're going to do idle down. And then come over here to the right.
Why down?
And we'll do idle right.
On top.
And then I'm going to, ooh, we got a big triangle now, right? I'm going to come down here to the bottom and do idle up. Okay. What this does is it creates, so you can see we're on a grid, and we've created these points on the grid. And even though it doesn't look this way, if we drag this over, this grid is actually one high, -1, -1, and 1. Now, doesn't that sound awfully familiar, right? Remember when we were setting up the input vector?
Yeah.
That sounds a lot like our input vector.
We can just
right?
apply. I think we
With
can
the
just
one,
apply.
The -1, -1, and 1 over here, and the X and Y position. Well, that's what we're doing. We're setting up a position-based animation. So we've got animation down up here, left, up, and right. And why did we switch up and down? Well, it's because you can see here that the Y positive is actually up, which these blend space 2Ds are often used for 3D games, and I'm guessing that's why it doesn't line up. But that's okay, we can work with this. Now, if we switch back to our select mode and we move this cursor around, let's see, we got to switch our blend here to the little dots instead of the line. And that's because we're not using an animation that is physics or bone based. So we can't interpolate between them. So we want to switch to this. And we're still not getting, this still isn't set up properly for how I'd expect it to work. It should be setting our player. Let's click on our animation tree. It is active. And I did set up our animations, right? Oh, maybe our root's not actually playing. Oh yeah, make sure that the root is actually playing. And then come back into edit. And now if we move this around, you can see our character is...
What have you done?
So if we come over here, it faces to the right. If we come over here,
the fuck is that? Okay, yeah, because this
up.
is just...
If we come up here, we face down. So our character can now rotate in this space, and all we have to do is set this little position, right? And once again, like I said, wouldn't it be useful if we could just set this thing's position to be our input vector, since that would work properly for this character? If we come over here to the right, you can see parameters, and these are the things that we can actually manipulate. And the blend position is the main parameter that we can manipulate. We're going to set it to 0, 0. And that just sticks it right here in the center again. And we're going to save. We're going to come back into our root. And let's make another one. Let's make one. New blend space 2D. We'll make this one. We'll double click in here. And we'll name this one run. And we'll play it. Okay. And we'll edit it. And we'll switch back to adding points. We'll come to the left point here. We'll add an animation. Run left. Up here, add animation. Run down. Right here, add animation. Run right. Right here, add animation. Run up. There we go.
And the fuck is going on?
Our blend mode needed to be switched to the little dots.
Okay.
Got to switch that. So there we go. We switch back to manipulate the blend position. We can now move around in this space in our character.
Yeah, this is look nice.
Rotate properly.
Really, really nice.
Okay, and we'll click on select again. Come over to, And now if you come under parameters, you can see we have the idle blend position. We also have a run blend position. So we can set that to 0 and 0. And save, come into our root. Now we want to create a transition between these, so we can transition from idle to run. So make sure you click this right here, and then from run back to idle like this. So we've set up a very simple animation tree with some states. And we're going to now we want to create a transition between these, so we can transition from idle to run. So make sure you click this right here, and then from run back to idle.
Okay, sorry about that.
Like this.
Yeah.
So we've set up a very simple animation tree with some states. And we're going to play our idle. Oh, we got to switch back to select and then play the idle, just so that our character isn't constantly animating. And we'll come into our player, we'll come into our script, and now we want to use that animation tree that we set up. And like I said, we want to try and get our input vector to equal the blend position of our animation tree. Isn't too hard. I'm going to look up my reference here to remember exactly how to do it, because it is a little bit of a weird way to set that. So, okay, first things first, we need to get access to our animation tree. So we'll create another onReady var, animation tree, set this equal to animation tree. So we've got access to that animation tree now. Next thing we want to do is set up our blend position, and we'll be doing this only when we're moving. So we'll come right here into where we're moving, and we'll say animation tree.
Just delete that.
And the reason we only want to do this when we're moving is because if you're not actually getting any input from the player, you don't want to update the blend position to be equal to the input vector, else it'll be 0, which you saw when we set it to 0, the player faces to the left. So we don't want our player to face to the left every time we stop. So that's why we only update the blend position when we're moving. That way when we stop, it will actually remember the previous motion, the previous blend position, and continue facing in the direction that we were facing when we were moving. So
Yeah,
animation tree
that makes sense.
dot set. And now we have to get a big giant parameter value, which is a string here.
Shit.
And this is why it's a bit weird, because we have to tell it which property to set. Well, if we come into it, we want to set our idle's blend position. If we hover over this, it'll actually tell us exactly what that string property looks like. It's parameters, idle, blend underscore position, with idle being capitalized. So we can come back into here, and we'll go parameters / idle capitalized / blend underscore position. Okay. And you might want to double check this, because if you have any typos in this, it's not going to work properly. And what do we want to set it to? Our input vector. Make sure you don't have typos in that either, vector. So that will set the blend position for our idle. We also want to do it for our run. Animation tree dot set parameters run blend position. We'll also set that equal to our input vector. So we're just setting the blend position inside whenever we move, and we're going to do it on all of our animations whenever we move. That way we can just switch to the different animations and inside of code, and I'll show you how to do that next. And the blend position will be properly set up. So if we run our game now, what you'll see is that our character apparently doesn't actually update at all. So let's check here. Oh, we need to make sure that one of the animation plays on load. So if we select this one right here, select our idle, you can click the little A icon here, and this will automatically play that animation on start, on when the game starts. Let's run the game again, and there we go. And now, oh, we're having some issues here with our left and right.
No.
It works in multiple directions, but then struggles with left. Let's check our animation for moving left. Where's idle left?
It's a bit broken.
Oh, we have run right set up as our auto animation. We want to turn that off, definitely. Let's look at idle left. Oh, we're still setting, are we still setting the animation? We are. This is the problem. I knew it'd be something silly. And the funny thing is that the reason I realized it is because when I went in to actually play this left animation and I set it to play, it was doing the thing from the video, or it was doing the thing from the game, and I realized that we were playing an animation on top of the animation tree trying to play it as well. So yeah, we definitely want to get rid of that. And hopefully that fixes all of our problems, right? Let's fix all the problems by getting rid of that. There we go. So now we've got movement in 8 directions, but it's still just using our basic idle pose. And it's still cool that it just works like that. I love how that works. It's amazing. You just set up that blend space 2D inside of here and then works like a charm. So what we're going to do for that is set up our, let's see, animation tree. We want to actually set the animation that we're going to play, right? It's pretty easy. What you have to do is you have to get access to the animation state. This is a little bit weird, but what you do is up here at the top, you create another onReady var, and we call this animation state. We set this equal to animation tree, let's see, where's the variable?
Oh, okay.
Animation tree, this is the variable that we created right here, so make sure you're using that, dot get, and now we have to get parameters, playback. So what does that actually get? What does that actually store inside of here, right? If we come look at our animation tree, you can see we have a playback parameter and there's an animation node state, which is basically, it's basically what we've set up in here. It's this, our root. We're getting access to this information right here now. We're not setting the blend position or anything. We're getting access to this. And we need access to that animation state so that we can then set the proper animation. We'll be doing this with a function called advance, or travel. It's not advance, it's travel. So we'll be doing that with a function called travel. So we can come here when we're going to move. We want to say animation state dot travel, and then we'll go to run, and then down here when we're idling we'll say animation state dot travel idle, save, and that's all we need to do in code. And it looks like non-existent function travel and base nil. What this means is our animation state isn't being loaded properly. And it likely means I did parameter instead of parameters. So there was a typo in this. And once again, that's the problem with having to use a string to try and get access to that. It's really easy to get a typo in these strings. So double check those. Let's run the game again.
Okay, let's check.
Now we have moving.
Yeah, it's walking.
In
It's
all 8
alive.
directions.
It's alive.
And idle with very little code, I have to say.
Nice.
Okay, there's
I
one
like
other
that.
thing. Okay, there's one other thing that's gonna drive some of you crazy, and it drove me crazy, to be fair. So if I go up and to the right, it uses the sideways, right? If I go up and to the left, it uses the sideways. If I go down and to the left, it uses the sideways one. If I go down and to the right, it uses down instead of sideways. So how do we tell it to prioritize one over another one? Well, there's a little trick that we can do for this. If we come back into our animation tree and edit our blend spaces here. And this little trick is that if you manipulate the position on these so that they're not at exactly 1, you can have it prioritize one over another one. Now, I personally want to prioritize left and right. So if you're moving exactly at a diagonal, then I want to prioritize the left and right sprite. So in order to do that, we're going to move these positions by, if we come over into our y-axis, we're going to add 0.1 here and add 0.1 here. And we're going to switch to select, and we're going to move these up each by 1 point.
Okay.
And what that'll do is it will prioritize, when we're exactly at an angle here, it will prioritize the left sprite over here, right exactly at the 45. Okay? If we're exactly 45 over here, it will also prioritize the left sprite. And so if you want yours to prioritize up and down at your diagonals, you would add 0.1 to your X position. So this is a trick that I came up with, and from the testing that I've done, it seems to work fine for this kind of project. So let's do it with our run as well. We will we'll add 0.1 here and 0.1 here, and then we'll make sure we're on our select and move these both by 0.1, save, run the game. Now we should always prioritize the left and right sprites when we're moving on the diagonals.
Yeah, let's just do the same stuff for the run animation. Yeah, like this. Will it work? Yay! It is! It is! Nice. I like that. It's comparing with the Unity stuff, it's like pretty simple. And I think more enjoyable than working with Unity.
And there you go. You've got an animated character. Now I know that this states here we have to set up each individual blend space. By using the animation tree has a lot of stuff involved, right? We have to set up the root with the states here. We have to set up each individual blend space. And then once we've got those set up, we have to get access to the state, the animation state, and set the parameters on our different blend space 2Ds. And so there's kind of a lot of stuff going on with this. So if you have questions or concerns, let me know in the comments. It is a lot to learn. If you don't feel like you understand it perfectly, know that that's okay. If you kind of get the basics down, you have an idea, okay with it, right? So that you can be. Good morning, afternoon.
This dude is just awesome. The tutorial that he makes, I don't know, I think it's one of the best tutorials that I ever go through. It have just perfect explanation on what's going on, why this is happening, and all that stuff. So I think I'm gonna paste a link somewhere, because should be I don't know, everyone should check this out. And thank you guys who came from the last stream. who actually sent me this link on this tutorial. It's just amazing.
Or evening, wherever and whenever you are. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to the Godot Action RPG. We'll add a new node as a child of our world. We'll make this a Y-sort node. And then, so let's change this. We'll change its type back to a node 2D. And then we'll add a thing that we put under this would be Y-sort. So let's change this. We'll change its type back to a node 2D. And then we'll add a new node as a child of our world. We'll make this a Y-sort node. And then we'll add all of our objects as children to that node. So I just selected the player, held shift, selected the brush, or the bush, and then grabbed it and grabbed them all, dropped them under our Y-sort node. And now that we've done that, our world, we can add a new sprite here. Sprite 2D. Just drag this all the way up to the top. And its texture will be inside of world and grass background.png. For the offset, let's uncheck centered.
But that was really fast. Wait a second. World.
And you can see there is our sprite. However, if we drag this out, it's going to stretch it, right? And that's not what we want. So how do we make this sprite fill up the entire area right here without stretching it like that? Well, if we come into region here, we can enable region. And the first thing you'll notice is that it shrinks all the way down like this. And we also get a new tab down here called texture region. And we can come into here, click on this, and we can see can zoom in. Whoa. Let's zoom in here. I use middle click to pan. You can see we've got some sort of a region here, and as we extend around this, our sprite extends here, and we can actually select this. Let's set pixel snap equal to true. We should be able to select our entire sprite quite easily that way. Okay, and this is actually 64 by 64 too, so you could set up a grid snap, set this to maybe 16 by 16, and easily...
What the hell is going on?
Easily select it as well, like that. Anyways, that doesn't really matter. What you can see, however, is we can extend these out farther too, but if we look up at our sprite, it kind of stretches it out weird here on the end. And so that's not really what we want. But when you set your region, so when we set these properties here in the texture region tab, what it's actually doing is setting these values over here. Once we have region enabled, these values right here are getting set. So you can see as we manipulate this, the values over here are changing. So that's essentially what you're doing. If we want this to repeat across a long distance, we can come into our texture down here and come into import, our import properties. We can check or come to the repeat flag right here and set enabled. Now, when we stretch our region out past, well, we forgot to click re-import. There we go. Then click re-import. Now when you stretch out past your actual region, you can see that the sprite is actually stretching here, and we can fill our entire room this way by stretching our region instead of our sprite. Or we can set our region manually, which in this case probably makes the most sense. You could turn on centered again, and you could stick your sprite in the middle of your room by setting its offset or its transform here. So we do, let's see, our room size was 320 divided by 2, right? that gets exactly in the center. And 180 was the height divided by 2. And you can see you can actually do the math right here in the editor, and Godot will do that math for you. So that's very convenient. And then you could set your region, right? Where is our region? Here we go. Your width and height in your region to be 320 by 180, the exact width and height of the room, and that would properly set this up. And so that's how you can do a background that way. Background. And this is a pretty good way to do it. There's another way. So I'm going to hide this node so we can't see it anymore. We're going to create another node. This is going to be a texture rect right here. And with this node, we can stretch it to fill the whole room. And we'll drag it up here as well. Call this one texture rect background. And we'll drag our grass background texture. And you can see, even when we stretch it, it doesn't actually stretch the sprite, right? Well, if you come into your properties over here, you can see stretch mode, and we can set this to tile. And then it will just automatically stretch. So the benefit of this is you can really easily just drag it around here in the editor. The problem with this is that it's actually a control type node. And they're not really meant to be used like this. They're meant to be used for UI related elements. And so this isn't really a UI, right? This is actually in our game. And so that's kind of the problem with this. But the benefit is being able to drag it around super easily inside of our room. Now, which one's better? I don't actually really know, because I don't know how big of a drawback it is to use a control node. Obviously, the control node is more convenient, right?
What about
it's
tiles?
A lot more convenient to use a texture
like
rect
normal
like this,
tiles.
But maybe
to draw
there's
the
drawbacks
stuff.
that I haven't run into with using a control node like this. So I don't know which one's better. I think for this series, I'm going to be using the first method. So we'll get rid of our control node and just make our background visible, and then manually set our rect properties over here if we need this to be bigger. And the reason I want to do that is just to kind of be safe, because I don't know if I'll run into issues with the control node, but I should be fine just using a sprite like this. So that's the plan. If you guys have any comments on this in the description, just let me know. Okay, so this already makes our game look a lot better because now we've got a nice background to go along with our character. Let's add one more little bit here. We're going to learn about tiles. So let's create a new node, attach it to our world, and this will be a tile map node. We'll drag this up. I want this to be below our background so that it draws on top of it, but above our Y sort stuff. So then we can click on our tile map and we can create a new tile map, but we're gonna want to set our cell size. So let's set this to 16 by 16. That will be the cell size. And we'll come to the tile set property here and we'll do new tile set. Now tile sets in Godot, they're relatively new, especially the auto tiling stuff, and they've changed quite a bit over the last little while. So a lot of the stuff in my Godot 3 videos is a little bit outdated because they've changed, like for the platformer series that I did a couple years ago. And tile sets, because they're relatively new, they're...
Okay, I think the tiles is the main point of how to do that stuff. I think maybe the best one. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe not, but yeah, we'll continue in a few minutes. I need to, I'll be right back. Let me turn on some music. Be right back.
the tower. Every 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Okay, I'm back. So let's pause the music and yeah, let's continue with this tutorial.
They're getting changes quickly and updates quickly. They're improving quickly, essentially. There's kind of a lot going on with them, so we'll try and take it slow. So these are the properties for your tile map. Well, if we click on the actual tile set resource right here, we're going to see some properties for that resource over here now. And we're going to get this new tile set window down here as well. And you can see there's some buttons here that we can't really interact with yet. But we're going to click this button right down here called Add Textures to Tile Set. We'll click that. We'll come into World called Add Textures to Tile Set.
Okay, I see.
We'll click that. We'll come into World and we'll select our dirt tileset.png. So we'll open this.
Okay.
And we should zoom into this. And this tile set I made with a program called Tile Setter, and I have a video on that as well. So if you want to learn more about Tile Setter, you can go check out that video. I'll probably put it as a card in this video and maybe in the description. I think it's a powerful program to simplify making tile sets like this. So once we have our tile set here, we can actually select, we can tell what kind of a tile, once we have our tile imported essentially, we can tell what kind of a tile set we're going to be making. And there's 3 different types up here. There's a single tile. So if you just need one tile, no, I don't use that very often, I'm not gonna lie. There is an auto tile right here. This is what I use the most often, and there's a tile atlas. This is just like a list of multiple tiles. They won't auto tile, but you can, you know, if you have some chairs and a whole bunch of different things that you want in a big list of tiles, you can create a tile atlas. We're going to do an auto tile for this. And once we click auto tile, we get this region button right here. So it wants us to select a region. And you can see we also get some snap options right here. And if we turn those on, we can actually snap. And I'm just clicking and dragging. So I clicked up here and dragged down here and selected this region. Well, this region is too big, but you have to do that before you get these new properties over here.
Oh.
Okay, so originally there weren't these properties over here, but the minute we created a region for this new auto tile set, we got these properties over here. So now we can change our snap options. We want them to be 16 by 16 as well. So then we can redraw our region. So click here, drag to here, and now our region only contains the tiles that we have right here. Once we've set up this tile set region like this, we can do Control S to save. And if we click on our tile map again, we can actually already see this tile set over here. But it doesn't really work, right? Like this isn't what we want right here. And so let's double click on our tile set again and then click on the tile right here that we added, and we can click in here again to select the region. So it's a little bit of a weird process right there. Pay attention to that process. Click on the resource, click on the exact tile set that we're modifying, click on in here to select our region again. And if we do selected tile right here, you can see some more properties that we can expand and look into. And the first property here is the subtile size, and it's 32 by 32. Well, we want this to be 16 by 16 again. And now we can zoom in one more time. We're getting a little bit closer to what we actually need. Now for our auto tiling, we need to choose an auto tile bit mask mode. I don't understand exactly how all of these work, but for this tile set right here, we need a 3 by 3 minimal. Basically what it does is if we click on our bit mask right here, if we're in 2 by 2, you can see each tile square gives you 4 squares, right? 2 by 2. And there's a 3 by 3 minimal, which gives you 3 by 3. So 9 squares total, 3 by 3. And a 3 by 3 non-minimal, which also gives you 9 squares total. I don't understand the difference between these two right here, but I do know we need to use minimal for this. And once you've done that, the bit mask is where you tell Godot how to place the tiles. So let's look at this middle tile right here and talk about this one. Okay, so this middle tile, when do we want this tile to be placed, this middle tile? Well, we want this one to be placed when there are tiles all around it, okay? When there are tiles all around it and a tile right here. That's when we want this one to be placed. That's the only time that this one should be placed, is when there's tiles all around it. So, using your bit mask right here, we're gonna draw. Okay, so we've got, imagine this 3 by 3 grid right here. Now shrink that down so that it fits inside this little square. So this is the tile that we are talking about right here, the middle one, right? And then around it you have these tiles. So imagine these tiles are around it, right? So you're telling it, when should you place this tile? Well, when there's a tile here and when there's a tile here, 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 here,
Yeah, that's
here,
like everywhere.
all around it. So that's when we want to place this tile, okay? Let's look at this top corner here. When do we want to place this tile? Well, this tile, okay, this tile should be placed when there's a tile to the right of it, when there's a tile below it, and when there's a tile right here, down and to the right, okay? So these 3 tiles around it. So we're going to do that same thing. We're going to say, here's our tile. Well, it should be placed when there's a tile to the right of it, when there's a tile below it, and when there's a tile down and to the right of it. So that tells Godot when it should place this tile.
Jesus Christ, I still have no idea what's going on.
A little bit, right? This tile right here should be placed when there's one to the left, one to the right, and then 3 under it. So here's our tile, one to the left, one to the right, and 3 under it. So that's how the bit masking works, the logic behind where we're putting these red squares. And hopefully that was enough of an explanation. For example, this tile right here, when would it be placed? Well, you want to place this tile when there's no tiles around it, right? This is a single lone tile. And so what does the bit mask look like for that? Just a single lone tile in the middle, right? And so there's a pattern with this, and you'll get kind of used to doing the pattern. I almost always mess it up still. So when I'm placing the bit mask, I almost always miss one or forget one, and you just kind of have to look over it again and try and get it right. So let's place them now all the way. We're going to place these here, and I don't have to do the exact logic anymore because I've kind of gotten a feel for what the pattern looks like, right? And if you just want to follow along with what I'm doing, you'll kind of get a feel for this pattern as well. And can I turn off? I don't know if I can turn off the grid snapping. With this tile set, it can be a little bit harder to tell where stuff is because these little brown dots are actually indicators of where these need to be placed, where these specific tiles need to be placed. So we need some here like this, oops, and like this, and like this, and like this. So you can see those little darker pixels on those, I'm not placing tiles over them. And that's because those are actually little edge, like in, this is where these tiles are, well, you can see what they're for, right? Like this corner tile is meant to be placed when there's a tile to the right of it and to the left of it, just like this one, but not a tile right here. No tile right here. That's where this one's meant to be placed. And you can tell that because the little darker pixel here means that's a corner. It's this little corner in here. So let's do these ones as well. Okay. And they do make some sort of a pattern. You can see this bigger, thicker piece coming down through here. These bigger, thicker ones come over through here as well. Oops. Not right there though, actually. Let's see. Like that. And you can see this section right here is like the vertical version of this section right here, down here. And then we need our weird cases. This one's our plus case, kind of like this is, but for these. And then these come here, like that. And this is here, like that. And there, I think
This
that's
is
it.
just fucking weird.
So you can pause your video right here and copy mine exactly if you need to. It gets, like I said, I tried to explain the logic of how it works, but it's actually generally
Holy
easier
shit.
just to kind of memorize
Yeah,
this pattern and then
that's
reapply it
just
and set up all your tile sets so they're like
that's
this.
just insane.
That makes it a little bit quicker when you're setting them up. So let's see if this actually worked. Now that we set up our bit masks,
I mean, yeah, hey Radiant Blue Wolf. I still I get here in this case it's pretty simple why you need this bitmap stuff, and probably maybe also here I get it, I'm not that sure, but here it's just that I don't know. So it this is where we can be placed, so these tiles can be placed when here is like nothing. Just a fucking magic. Yeah, let's just continue.
we should be able to come into our tile map and place it in the room and get some auto tiling. And this looks like I got it all right.
Whoa. Easy. I don't get it.
Into our tile map.
Tile map, okay, let's just, okay, I see.
And place it in the room.
So it will be placing. Ah, I see. So it's to replace your manual work when you need to choose a tile. When you need to choose a tile every single time. So is it like corner or no? Yeah, that's useful.
and get some auto tiling. And this looks like I got it all right. This auto tile looks like it's working properly. So if yours has issues, then it means your bit mask is not set up properly. And so you'll want to go back, you'll want to pause where I said to pause and set up your bit mask to make sure that it matches exactly how mine matches. I'm going to put in some tiles here just so we've got some little paths.
Room. This looks nice.
Come this
and
way.
It's easy.
There we go. That's
what was those dots?
Path for our game. And if we run the game, this tile set is now working properly in our game. And that looks pretty good. And you can see it's really quick. Once you get the tile set up, it's really quick to create it in the room. Now this tile right here that represents this auto tile, it doesn't...
Hold on. Oh, hello, CPT Fubar. Yeah, hi CBT Fubar, thank you for your follow. Yeah, I'm good learning some Godot stuff, as you see. So yeah, let's ban this guy. I don't like it. It's some spam messages. Okay, that's... Yeah, see, we have the company of some bots. Yeah, that's true. Just ban this guy. Okay, so I think the guy is banned now. Yeah, working on some Godot stuff, learning how this tile map magic works. And it's a bit hard. Yeah.
It's not very, it's the corner, right? So you can actually set that if we click on our tile set resource again, click here again, click in here again, and then we come to this icon tab right here. We can select the icon that represents this tile set, and I usually use this one because, right, that is a better representation of the tile set.
Okay.
So there we go. And these other properties right here, we're not going to worry about them right now. We'll talk a little bit more about, we'll talk about collision.
Yeah, I want to test it. Like I made it. Well, so CBT Fubar, what made you choose Godot? Any specific? So, well, actually, I mean, I was trying to do some stuff with Unity, but it feels kind of weird, and all this madness that is going on right now with Unity, like this merge with Iron something company, I don't really remember how to name it, and that they just like more focus it on to like advertisement and stuff, and it's like it's so annoying for the indie community. So yeah, I just want to try to do some stuff with Godot. We'll see how it goes. And it feels a bit more enjoyable to work with Godot. I don't know why though. I mean, maybe it's like more easy to use. You don't need to wait like when you just refreshing your I don't know, for resources, or I don't know, like some sprites, and it's like, oh, hold on, I need to like rescan it or rebuild it, and it takes like few minutes. I think it would be the same with Godot in future if I will have like a huge project, but still it's, I don't know. It's free and open source, and I'm software engineer. I like open source, so why not? So yeah. Don't be discouraged of Godot interface. It can take a little time to get custom to, but believe me, once you learn the basic, you will discard dependencies. Yeah. It's yeah. I mean, it feels at the beginning. It feels like, oh, it's so so small, so empty, like, I don't know. If you open like your task manager, it doesn't use any memory at all, like 100 megabytes. Like what? I mean, it's like 20 Firefox tabs. I could go no. I mean, it's like one Firefox tab will use basically you can run in it like 20 Godot windows. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. I like it for now. I mean, I just trying to learn it for 3 days in a row. That's all.
In the next video, and we'll also talk maybe a little smooth. It's Godot, of course, do this, but if you could hit that bell.
So yeah, I think I already started to love it.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening.
Okay, that's the same video. Next one.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever.
And I like this guy.
My name is Benjamin, and welcome to part 8 for our Godot Action RPG series. In this video, we're going to be doing some more auto tiling. We're going to be setting up an auto tile for some cliffs, and these cliffs will have a collision attached to them. So these will be tile-based.
Even if you are going to use another game engine for your projects, there is no other engine where you can prototype faster than Godot. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like spend I don't know how much, like 1 hour, and I have like playable stuff. It doesn't have like inventory interaction and stuff, but it looks already nice and you can feel it. Yeah, agree. I didn't check GD Quest yet, but the Hard Beast is just insane videos and it explains everything. So I think it's like the most perfect tutorials for the total beginners. So yeah.
Collisions. So let's create a new tile map. We'll click on our world, click a new tile map. For this tile map up here, we'll call this, we'll call this dirt path tile map. Oh, they capitalized the M, so let's do that too, actually. And we'll drag this up here, and we'll call this, I don't know what to call it. Wall, cliff, dirt, cliff, tile map. We'll try that, dirt, cliff, tile map. And this one will need to be on top of our other tile map right here. Click on it, come over here to the right.
Oh no, no, not time.
Tile set to new tile set. Come into cell.
Hold on. Tile map,
tile set to new tile set. Come into cell. Do 16 by 16. Wait, is this one? This one might be 32 by 32. I think it might be 32 by 32 actually, if I remember.
Where do you change it?
We'll see when we get into it.
Cell size, okay. I see it.
And click on the tile set.
What? Oh, it's... No. Put it back as 32.
Remember? We'll see when we get into it. And click on the tile set. We'll add a new image here. We'll do our cliff tile set. Zoom out just a bit.
That's a big one.
Auto tile again. We'll select a region.
One.
Do this whole region right here. And you can see it remembered our subtile size from the last one, so we'll set this to 32 by 32 now. And we'll set our step size to 32 by 32 as well. And yes, this one is 32 by 32. I was pretty sure it was. We'll want to set our bitmask type to 3 by 3 minimal. Once again, that's going to be the same. And we'll
Good morning.
And now we can start setting up our bit
Divan
mask like we did
Ben.
before. And it will be the pattern will be exactly the same. The tricky part is going to be, see how the tile set has a little bit of extra cliff on this side? It makes you think you only want to come down to here, right? That's what it looks like. But no, in reality, this corner tile should still be placed.
Oh,
Let's go through our logic
doesn't
again
look
here.
really good.
This corner tile should still be placed when there's a tile to the right of it, above it, and to the right and above in this top right corner here. In this east, northwest and northeast tiles. So north, east, and northeast tiles, just like that. So it is a little bit tricky because of the cliff, but should be able to do it. Go down all the way with that one. These need to be in the middle, no. Here, not up here, but in the middle. This needs to be right here in the middle. And then everything else the pattern will be the exact same as the previous video we did, right? Here we go, filling out the same exact pattern.
Fucking hell.
Oops, I zoomed clear out too far. We'll do here.
Yeah, I think it's still hard for me to understand. Like, I get it was here, but I'm not sure in what cases it will place these tiles on the map. But yeah.
This will be, the same. And remember, you can kind of line some of these things up. Thicker lines here that go down to here, thicker lines here. These are the thin lines. This is where it gets tricky over here in the weirdness. But we'll try and do our best here. Oops. Pretty sure we need ones there. I messed this one up the first time I did it because that for sure goes there. I think these go like that. Ooh, one here too. Okay, so once again, if you need
yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that I will be drawing the say tail map. I just will use this picture as an example. So I will just like goes over it. Oh, okay. Let me check. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Nice. Thank you. Thank you, CBT Fubar. It's really useful.
you can pause and copy mine. And that should be good. Let's come back into our, I'm going to do Control S to save. We'll come back into our cliff and try placing some of these in the level. There we go. Seems to work properly.
Yeah, looks nice.
We may end up wanting to move stuff around and adjust around these cliffs a little bit. Okay, so let's come into our dirt path again. I'm going to remove some of these right here. Kind of have like a central point here like that. And we'll move this bush where do we want this bush? Put 2 bushes here maybe. Like that. Okay, and you can see that this cliff tile set is designed, since it's got the empty space here, it's designed to work on top of our grass. So you can kind of get some weird stuff if you do our dirt path into the cliff like this, right? This doesn't look good. However, you could do the dirt on top of the cliff like this if you wanted dirt cliffs, and you could get that to look pretty good. And that's one of the benefits of having the cliff transparent like this, but it's definitely not necessary. You could potentially set this up to have a grass tile inside as well.
No,
I
yeah,
set it up this way because I like the flexibility of it, but there are some limitations to it, so be aware of those. Now if we run our game, this works properly. Well, it looks good, but we can move through these cliffs, so it doesn't actually function properly. So we
you
need
need
to
to
set
add
up
some collision magic.
need to talk about the other properties of tile sets. So click on the dirt cliff, click on your tile set resource, click here, click in here, and we can talk about some of these other properties, these other tabs up here. What do they do? Well, the collision property is pretty straightforward. This is the collision tab, I guess, is pretty straightforward. This is where you set up your collisions. For this, I generally just use, you can do polygon collision shapes, but I generally just use a rectangle collision shape, and this process is a bit of a pain still. I'd like to see this process improved, streamlined a little bit in future versions of Godot. Once you get it set up, then it's done. You don't have to mess with it again, but setting it up initially is a little bit of a process, so I'm going to step you through it. So first we click on the square for doing a square collision shape. We stick it here, right? And it automatically makes one for us. Well, we need to make another one over here now. So we'll click there, click on the square, and click here. Now that's very slow, right? To do this, because we have to do it with every single tile set here, because they all need collisions attached to them. So there's not really a way to make this faster. I'll probably end up speeding this up in the video.
This is weird. When you press in it to a new rectangle, it creates one more over it, so it have like 2 collisions now. Well, I think tile set will be improved in Godot 4. I mean, that's how I should learn it again. Yeah, but I was reading some news and that the Godot 4 update will be mainly focused on 3D. So okay. I mean, now I'm annoyed that I need to learn it one more time. But anyway,
But the one thing that does seem to make it faster is if I click here to select my next tile, then I click on this, I can click anywhere else in here and it will still create it over here. So that just makes it nice because you can click on the next, you can double click on the next tile you want to do. So we'll click, let's start here on the farthest tile. So we'll do here, then we'll click on square, and we'll double click on our next tile. You see that? Click here, next one, and these are double clicks. And that speeds up the process a little bit, but it's still not the fastest process for setting up these collisions.
no, why it's not
Okay,
working?
there we have collisions set up on all of our tiles. Now, if any Godot
Yeah, I was checking the news with a Godot in YouTube, and I saw like old videos like 2 years ago, and they were like talking about, oh, Godot 4 will be awesome. It's like, oh, is it like all the time was in progress, like in the, I don't know, they working on it still? Even it like it was 2 years ago, so it was kind of interesting to see those videos from the past. No. Yeah, I know it's in alpha. but I don't know. I thought like, is it only like for 3D stuff? It doesn't really make sense to use it for some 2D game development. Yeah, I think I will. That's a nice idea to try a beta at least. Because I don't know. For example, I use IntelliJ IDEA in my work, and sometimes you can download like preview versions, and it's not usable. Sometimes it's just broken. So I don't trust beta versions. Hmm, that's cool about the Vulkan. Not sure it still will help you with 2D stuff, but anyway, that's a nice little feature. I thought I heard somewhere they will also want to add this like, how it called, like DLSS but from AMD, like inside the most mobile phones support Vulkan. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm not really into 3D, but all I know about Vulkan is like, I remember those Wolfenstein and Doom games from 2016, and they were just working with Vulkan like insane. The amount of frame rate on my old on my old laptop, not this one right now, but on the old one, it was just working like, it was working perfect with Vulkan. So yeah.
Contributors are watching this, my suggestion, and obviously this is just a suggestion because I haven't ever contributed to Godot before, but my suggestion for making this kind of an easy fix for making this faster would be to add a hotkey for this create new rectangle, because that would speed up. I wouldn't have to click back and forth like this. I could just press a hotkey on my keyboard.
Dude, there is a shift R command to do that. New rectangle, shift plus R. It doesn't work every time, but you know.
Board and immediately set the tile, the collision for each
I think
tile.
I think should be a comment about that. Like you can just use shift plus R. No. Okay, someone telling that actually you can use page up and page down. Not sure it's about those. Oh yeah, they added the hotkey. It's shift plus R. Yeah. Yeah, I think because he used the older version, so he used the version like 3.2.1, and mine is like 3.4. So yeah, I think they just don't have.
Set up, we can save,
Yep.
run the game, and we immediately have collisions working with these. Now I didn't set this up to work with depth, and I'm not going to be setting this up to work with depth because that complicates things. Action RPGs, as you get more and more complicated with depth, adding jumping and stuff, that's not the scope of this project. That's not what I'm going to be going into. But you could do that. It is possible to add depth, and part of what would be, if you're going to keep your game 2D, which if you're going to do depth in an action RPG, I'd recommend going 3D, but then making it look 2D. But if you want to try and keep it 2D, you can use indexing, and you can set the Z index on each individual tile, which basically is just how it will be layered. So you could, bigger values are drawn on top in this case in Godot, which is the opposite of GameMaker. So you'd set, these top pieces to be larger, and then you could have your player go behind them, and you would set up your collisions to allow for that using smaller, using using a polygon with a smaller snap size so that you could create collisions inside of here and not have a collision on the full thing. And then once again, you wouldn't be able to have see-through tiles like I do. You'd have to have the grass part of this cliff so that your player wouldn't show up beneath here, right? That wouldn't make sense. So there's a lot of things on top of that, and that's part of why I chose to do it this way. Keep it simple. But now we have working collisions, and you've learned about the z-index stuff too. Can't quite
makes sense. That is another thing I love about Godot. If you participate by any change on the GitHub of Godot, you can propose any kind of feature and might be adopted in this popular. Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice. It's interesting, like what they use. Did they have like a big list of features they want to implement? Oh, you probably don't see it. Let me open it here so you can see it. So, oh, they have like 1.4k of pull requests. Oh, that's insane. Jesus Christ, that's insane. I mean, they never gonna review it all. This is just not possible. But wait a second, I mean, they closed 26k of pull requests. That's insane community, I would say. Okay, that's their tickets. Yeah. I mean, the community is insane. That's really good. I mean, we have almost 2,000 of contributors. This is awesome. I mean, last commit was to the last merged pull request was like 2 hours ago. Nice job, guys. I hope everything will be good with the Godot community. Just as an example, a Godot user, Twitch streamer, wanted to implement the possibility to group uniforms for shaders, exportable parameters. A dev picked it up in 3 days and it is already implemented for the next version. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. That's really cool. That's the big difference with Unity. Like, the Unity is owned by a huge corporation, which is right now, I don't know, merged with another one, and all they need is just the money. But these guys, they just love it, and this is how they support it, and they making it better and better all the time. So that's... Oh, okay, it's updated version. I still have 3.4.5. Yeah, exactly. The data mining company. I think, as always, like Facebook was a nice little web page when you can find friends and talk to your parents and stuff like that. And now it's just, now they selling your data everywhere. So yeah, this is the world where we live. Okay.
That gap must be too small for a character's collision. So let's see the other ones real quick. We have occlusion. So what is occlusion set up for?
Yeah, so I will be finishing my stream really soon, in a few minutes. Everyone wanna make money, but no one happy to see a billion-dollar company was sick. Well, yeah, agree with that too. I mean, in the same time, yeah, you can take a look at the Riot Games company. They making free games, and their monetization is not so crazy. I mean, it's not pay to win. Like, for example, Wild Rift, it's still good. It doesn't ask you, give me your money, like really, really fast, give me your money. It's not Diablo Immortal. So, yeah, it's. I don't know.
Well, Godot has a built-in lighting system, and I'm not going to go in depth into the lighting system in Godot, but you can set up occlusion shapes that will make it so that the light, when you cast a light, these shapes will cast shadows. So you can have your auto tiles automatically create shadows using that occlusion and setting
That's
up the collisions
nice.
for the occlusion. Navigation is for Godot's built-in navigation stuff. You can easily navigate. You can set up a navigation mesh and then use that for, enemies or whatever to be able to navigate a tile set as well. Let's see. Let's set up our icon again because I like to set this up. We'll do the single tile icon. And the last one is priority. Now, priority allows you to create some. So let's say you have a grass background, right? And as you're placing it in the room, you want it to randomly place a grass tile that has a flower in it every once in a while. Well, with your priority property, you can set that up. You can set up, I want this tile to be placed every one and however many tiles that get placed. And so you can give your little flower a 1 in 50 or a 1 in 20 chance of getting placed randomly when you're placing it in the room, so that if you wanted to place those by hand, you could, but you can set up the priority to do it for you manually. And so that the system does it, you don't have to worry about doing it all the time. It can really speed up the process of level design once again. And that's kind of the idea. You set up your tile sets, you set up all these different properties in here, then when you're creating your levels, it's all really quick. You just create your cliff where you want it, right? And now when you run the game, you immediately have new collisions right there. You don't have to replace your collision boxes. And that's the idea behind this. So it is a little bit, once again, the tile set system in Godot can be a little bit convoluted, it feels like, if I'm being honest. Like going from here to here, clicking here, clicking here. There's kind of a lot of steps along the way. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky to find all those stuff, all those tile maps and one bit. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, looks awesome. Damn, this is amazing. Why this enemy reminds me croissant? I don't know how to call that. it's like the food. Yeah, this one. Oh, nice. Like, this is amazing. Is it like the course? Oh yeah, I see it's a course. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Oh, you're here again. Hello. Arex. Good morning. Raid shenanigans return. Oh, Guys, and you come in like right at the end of my stream. Yeah. By the way, as you said, now I'm working on this hard beast tutorial. And it's really good. So thank you for promoting it to me. So yeah, I was working a little bit yesterday in the evening without streaming, and yeah, this is what I already made. So yeah, it's kind of nice, and tutorial is really great. So yeah, the best way to learn Godot, I would say. Yeah, hello everyone. So yeah, I think now I should raid another guy. uh, Holy shit! It's 13 viewers. It's like the top. I never have 13 viewers. Like the last record was 2 days ago. No, not 2 days ago. Yesterday. It was yesterday. And now it's welcome to the dev club. Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, should we raid some else guy? Don't sure. I'm not subscribed to a lot of guys. I subscribe for the whole. Yeah. That would be interesting to raid someone else. But let's found a guy with like 1 viewer, because it doesn't make sense to raid someone with like, I don't know, 30. What do you think? Nova Liminal is another Godot streamer messing with art. Okay, let's find it. Does it have? I don't see it. Let me copy. Let me copy the name. Oh, whoa! It have like 16 viewers. Nova Liminal drawing a channel point. So should we go to this Nova Liminal or choose some one viewer stream? I think it have like 18 viewers, so let's just choose some game dev guy with 0 views. Okay, this guy is retro game development with RPG Maker. You have like, how many viewers do you have? Like 2? Yeah, 2. Okay, we're gonna raid him. Are you ready? Let's go.
I was just looking at Humble Bundle. What's up, Raid Shenanigans? I have a game called Familia. I'm currently working on like there's like this randomized rogue like level that I'm working on. So, what were you guys doing, game dev weirdo?
Okay, I think that's the end of my stream. So, yeah, it was awesome, guys. Thank you. Thank you.